How is everybody? Can you do a stand up? Sun salute. There's no sun here. I'm Laura Downhower from the Extension School, the EPFL Extension School, and maybe many of you have heard about it, or some of you have heard about it. If not, I'm not going to tell you very much about it today, but I am going to talk to you a little bit about artificial intelligence and what drives artificial intelligence, which is data. For that, I probably need to get the clicker. Okay, and before I do, I'm going to step back and describe a situation that I think we've all been in, which is where we're having a meeting about a new product or service launch, probably in the digital world. Maybe it's a website, maybe it's an app, maybe it's something else. And here's kind of like what that meeting looks like, right? Is the product manager says, our website needs to do this, fill in the blank for whatever that website is, whether it's a product or a service or an app or whatever it's going to be. The legal team says, well, we can't do that because of GDPR. The sales manager says, well, it has to do this because we've got our customers that are going to actually really need that. The marketing manager chimes in and says, and we definitely have to do this because we need lots of bells and whistles for that. The strategy guy says, we've got to use this new technology that's out there, right? We've got to be really cutting edge with this. It's an opportunity for us to make our mark. The project manager says, we have resources to do from A to B, and that's it. And the finance people say, don't go over budget this time. How many of you have been in that meeting? Right? A lot of us. What happens, right? It's confusing. A lot of good ideas, a lot of important ideas, and potentially really good products and services to get out the door. But what we've just seen in that micro version of that meeting is a lot of confusion. And often what happens with digital products is this. We can see that's the IT guy, for those who can't figure that out, right? So the IT guy is going to figure this out. And so everybody tells the IT team, this is exactly what we need. And as you've seen, there's lots of different varieties of what people need. And then the IT teams go out and they deliver something for you. And then they bring it back. And then everybody says, God, this is not what we want. They didn't figure it out, right? Because we're not speaking the same language. And so then they tell you to write functional specifications, and then you get mad because you have to write functional specifications, and then you go back and they deliver on the functional specifications, and at that point the market has moved on and it's a total mess, and then we get to here. Today, we are going to decide who to blame. This world is now coming to data. Most of us started in the digital space 5, 10, 15 years ago, and that involved learning a lot about how we communicate online and the products and services that we build online. I would hope that one of the stresses of this conference is about not just machine learning, but the underlying part of machine learning, which is there's a lot of data out there. And increasingly, all of you are working with data. What does that mean? You work with emails. You work with text messages, content management system, SAP, digital asset management, CRM system, Salesforce, Zoho, whatever that's going to be. You use text messages, social media posts, documents and PDFs, log files, browsing histories, device returns. You may even work with Excel, right? All of this is data. But you might not actually know what to do with this data. And there are lots and lots of reasons for that. There's too much data. It's too big. It doesn't fit on your computer, or you don't have access to it. It's too dirty. You don't know what to do with it because you can't even find the gems that are inside of it. You can't wrap your head around how to extract the value of it because you just don't know where to start. You may have a ton of data and say, I don't even know what to do with this. Or, more critically, you don't even know what data you have to be able to think about extracting value. I'm sure that every single person in here, in this room, and I'm one of them, is in one or more of those categories. What we see, and my colleague and our academic director, Marcel Salate, who is one of the sponsors and co-founders of this conference, has said in a presentation that AI will not replace doctors. Doctors with AI will replace doctors who don't have AI competencies. And when you think about data and the digital revolution that is associated with data, you get this. Data, digital skills, AI are not going to replace you or me, but somebody with my skill set who's really comfortable with data, digital skills, and eventually AI has a much better job, much better opportunity to do a better job than I do for what's going to happen in the future. This isn't the world just for data scientists, it's for every single one of us in this room and outside of this room with this revolution that's coming. Now, the way we see this at the Extension School, and we've had quite a bit of time at this point to talk to a ton of different kinds of learners and a ton of different kinds of companies, is that we believe that this blue circle, unfortunately I don't have a pointer, the blue circle is a foundational understanding of data science, meaning that you need to be able to know how to get data, whether that's downloading or scraping or through an API. You need to know how to import it into the tools that you want to use. You need to know how to clean it, and that's the huge job of data scientists and people who work with data, is understanding how to get the data that's going to be clean and able to be used for the kind of analysis that you want to do. You need to be able to do that basic analysis, and there we get into an overlap between this blue circle and this green circle, where we do our exploratory data analysis, and then we move into machine learning. None of the parts of the blue circle are the territory of people who have a master's degree in data science. I love watching these presentations, and I have to admit I don't understand most of them. But I start to understand the vocabulary, and I understand the techniques behind them, and that means that even if I don't understand the underlying algorithms or the underlying basis of this, I can have a conversation about what are we doing and why. And everybody who works with data should be able to do that. And that's pretty much everyone. Once we get into the exploratory data analysis and the understanding of the machine learning approaches or algorithms we want to use, then you can hand off your data to the people who are going to work in the green circle. And those are people who, again, have been trained in machine learning, which is just kind of a data science plus, where you're looking at more math, more statistics, more programming, and doing a different kind of analysis. But that also is well within the realm of the capabilities of everyone in this room, to be able to understand, how do I start to extract value from my data by using machine learning algorithms to do this? But let's say you don't. Well, the machine learning people, often those are going to be your data scientists in your company, at least right now, are then going to end up with some results. And that's where, again, the people who are the business people, that's the blue circle, can come back and say, how do we tell a good story about this? Because it's not just about getting results, it's about how do we communicate these results? How do we make sure these results are framed in a way that's going to give us the most impact? And how are these results going to inform me as the person who started out with this data set, who started out with the data we have from a product or service, and I'm trying to understand what the impact is from that data. What it looks like for us is, the blue circle is foundations of data science. Get your hands dirty in R and in the tidyverse, and that's accessible to everybody. That's a course that we teach that has absolutely no prerequisites and is going to get you through where you can actually talk to data scientists with the same language, and you can hand over data to them. You can work on the same data set as they do as a result. You want to get your hands dirtier? Machine learning. That's a program we have that'll teach you everything you need to know about doing data analysis in Python. So a different language, but one that's much more adapted to machine learning, where R is much more adapted to a broader range of data elements. Machine learning is going to teach you all the different basics you'd ever want to know about running these different algorithms, writing these different algorithms, testing and training data, and then coming up with results. And finally, the communication and visualization program that we run helps particularly anybody who's doing machine learning be able to express what they're doing in a powerful and impactful way. But it also means the people up in the blue circle, if you'll see, who've already learned R and the tidyverse, which are the basics of data science, can then move down and take over on the communication and visualization side and tell the whole story. This also means that everybody in these circles speaks the same language, works on the same data set, so there's no more, my Excel file does not have the same column L as your Excel file. You can see each other's work and validate each other's work, and again, you're all working in ways that you all mutually understand. So what are you waiting for? Get your hands dirty and join the data revolution. Thanks.